What's up, everybody? It's JayViper. We're going to be checking out what IGN is calling their final preview of Star Wars Outlaws. As we all know, the gameplay for both running around and the ships, I didn't really like it very much. I was pretty disappointed with what we saw. I liked what I saw with the Scoundrels, but we're going to go ahead and see what we have with the final preview. I don't even know what to expect. I haven't seen it.
I have enough friends.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay me to hang out with you.
It seems impossible that Star Wars Outlaws is the first ever open world Star Wars game, but indeed it's true. With that first comes plenty of expectation, but also lots of excitement, particularly when the studio handling the effort is massive entertainment.
Let's relax. We've seen the gameplay. The excitement right now is actually kind of low for this game because they keep showing us gameplay that people aren't excited for. I watched people watch it, okay, after I made my videos. I haven't seen anything positive, and I've looked.
The talented developers of The Division. Speaking personally, I confess that I don't often get hyped up for too many open world games these days, outside of those made by Rockstar, as those can be counted on to raise the bar every single time, but I have been plenty hyped for Outlaws.
No way.
After all, it's set after The Empire Strikes Back. You
No
play
way.
as a Han Solo caliber scoundrel instead of yet another Jedi.
No way. This guy's a shield. No way. No way. He's seen it. We've seen it. No way.
And you've got an awesome alien creature pet named Nyx by your side at
Nyx
all
is the
times,
coolest
who
part about the
promises
game.
to have an impact on gameplay and not just follow our hero Kay Vess around being adorable. In other words, it's got a lot going for it on paper.
But Nyx is just a Ubisoft pet. I mean, we've seen this with eagles and all that stuff, and owls, etc. It's a Ubisoft pet. They're fun, they're neat, but what is Nyx bringing that we haven't seen? I don't think we've seen anything yet.
Don't worry, Nix. The next job will be better.
And while it doesn't seem like Outlaws will do any
Look at this gameplay.
like bar raising, after playing a near final build of it for 4 hours across two different sections of gameplay,
there's
I'd say
no
it's still
AI.
one of my most anticipated games yet to come out in a busy second half of 2024, and it feels very Star Wars in all the right ways.
I need to see something good with this game really bad. Oh, here we go.
We made it.
We made it.
Ubisoft has developed a reputation for making checklist open world games. Big spaces where you're given a to-do list of side quests and activities to complete outside of the golden path. Generally, this is not a compliment. But one of the things that impressed me about Star Wars Outlaws is that I didn't get the sense that I was just checking boxes to inch closer to 100% game completion. Don't get me
What does that matter? The gameplay is what matters. The gameplay matters.
wrong. There is plenty to do in Outlaws, but those side quests and activities feel a lot more organic than they do in the publisher's other games.
Okay.
For example, while wandering around the town of Maragana on the planet Toshara, I walked by an arcade minigame of sorts. I wandered up and played around.
I've never
At the
seen this in a
time,
game.
I also stumbled upon a betting stand where I could wager on holographic horse races.
That's cool.
I managed to bet on the right one by sheer good luck, which gave me a chuckle later when I discovered a data pad lying around elsewhere that gave me a strong hint on who to lay my money on. I also encountered a down-on-their-luck gambling addict who begged me for money. I
Okay.
obliged, enabling his vice and leaving with a promise that he'd share in his winnings should he find himself back on Lady Luck's good side.
Okay, how much you give
Naturally,
him?
there's also a cantina, and I even saw a sabacc table, but I lacked sufficient funds at the time to buy in and play.
So you can
Someone
play.
told me that the Hutts
That's
are
good.
scrambling to get back something of Jabba's.
All of these optional activities
That's a freaking bummer. Dude didn't get enough and go back to that table. Maybe he didn't have time. I don't know how limited he was.
These feel very natural on the planets and towns of Outlaws, and that's true in part because of the excellent art direction that makes every location ooze Star Wars authenticity. From the lighting to
looks
the
like-
architecture to the NPCs milling about, Massive has, based on what I've seen so far, done an excellent job of setting an authentic Star Wars stage.
I think it's easy. They've taken places that exist already and put them in the game. Look at this
And I'd
gameplay.
be
It's so slow.
if I didn't add how the story of Star Wars Outlaws only supports
What
and
is
reinforces
that?
all of this. Kay is just out to make her way in an unforgiving galaxy, lying or double-crossing as she needs to in order to look out for number one. This plays out in occasional dialogue choices that pop up during cutscenes, adding
Okay.
a bit more player agency to what would otherwise be a mini Star Wars in-game.
See, now this is what I do like about the game is the undercurrent of all the crime syndicates. That would be interesting, but it has to be a heavy part of the game. If it's just something that's going on in the background, then it won't matter.
Movie. Will those choices affect how the plot ultimately plays out? I wouldn't bet on it, but there is a laudable faction reputation system that tracks how much, or little, each of the in-game syndicates
There's my
likes you.
answer.
Double-cross the
Maybe.
Hutts and you'll harm your reputation with them, but increase your standing with the Crimson Dawn. Piss off a faction enough and they won't let you into their territory, meaning you'll have to sneak in and stay undetected if you want access.
What
Yeah.
if I say no? Now that you know who I work for, I can't let you walk out of here.
What
But
kind
you're
of Sullen talks that way? That's not how Sullens talk at all. They cannot speak like that.
Probably wondering, what of the moment-to-moment gameplay? In this, Star Wars Outlaws made me happy. This is a stealth game if you want it to be. And if you mess up in that attempt, I honestly like that you don't have a lightsaber to save you. You'll have to use Kay's blaster, which, yes, is upgradable, to get
He just keeps hinting on how much this is not really a Star Wars game because there's no lightsabers. I don't mind that they're going with, you're not a Jedi. That's totally fine. But Star Wars is Jedi. It is. Hopefully there's somewhere you have to deal with in some way. I know that the leader of the Crimson faction, she's a Sith or something like that. She's in here. But do you have to deal with her anyway?
get out of trouble, and that adds to the sense of danger because
See, that's one thing. Is I think whoever's playing this sucks because you see like really slow, bad
you're
combat.
not a laser sword wielding
I feel like it's who's
demigod.
playing.
As such, the blaster battles felt like they had meaningful stakes, and the
At least who's
gameplay
playing
had
isn't
a bit of
helping
weight
it.
to it
Look
because
at
I
that.
knew that I'd be
Looks- it
up
looks
against it
terrible.
if I messed up.
That looks awful. Let's go look
Because
at this
I
again.
felt
Look
not
at this.
a laser
Look at this
sword
again.
wielding demigod. As such, the blaster battles felt like they had meaningful stakes.
Did
and the
they?
stealth gameplay had a bit of weight
What
to
is
it because
going-
I knew
what
that
is
I'd be
this?
up against it if I messed up.
How did they choose to show that? That was horrible.
Roger that.
Naturally, with stealth comes lockpicking, and it's here too in the form of data spikes. And I quite like how Outlaws handles it.
Yeah, how's
Each
this working?
lock has a particular audio signature, and
Okay.
it's up to you to match that pattern by pressing the right trigger
just another
in time with the
lockpicking minigame.
beeps. The longer you take,
Not that
the
big
more
of a deal.
likely you are to be spotted. Similarly, the hacking minigame is also really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you'll need to line up the right symbols in the right order, which usually takes multiple attempts. Fail too often and you'll fail the hack entirely. It
I
took me a
see.
few tries to wrap my head around.
Oh, it's one
but
of
once
these.
I did, I really enjoyed the opportunities I got to do some
Okay.
hacking.
Nice.
Oh, these are more annoying
Core
than anything.
stealth gameplay is aided by the
It's just
breakout
cards, it's
star
moving
of
cards around.
Outlaws, Nyx. Yes,
Nyx
Nyx
is
is the
cool.
BD1 of this game, but compared to Cal Kestis's droid companion, Kay's organic pal can do a whole lot more for you. He can distract an enemy by getting the
He
bad
seems
guy's
very
attention
important to the
and
gameplay,
adorably
especially
play
since
dead,
it's stealth.
or flat out attack
He
them.
helps you
He can
be
hit
stealth.
buttons or switches too, or set off bombs, and retrieve items. This is useful when you're pinned down in a firefight and a more potent A300 blaster rifle is across the room. Nyx can go fetch it and bring
Okay.
it back and drop it at your feet without you leaving cover. I
That's
even
helpful.
like how Outlaws handles these larger weapons. They can't be reloaded, meaning
This
that
cool- this
once
area
you
is
fire
neat,
all
but the
rounds,
gameplay
you
looks
just
bad.
drop the empty gun and go back to your trusty blasters. This is likely a design decision to ensure that Kay never feels too overpowered, thus making sure
Okay.
the player is always on their toes in combat.
So
Here you
I want to listen to that again.
This is like rounds, you just drop the empty gun and go back to your trusty
So you don't get to
blasters.
reload,
This
you
is
just
likely
blaster.
a design decision to ensure that Kay never feels too overpowered,
Okay.
thus making sure the player
They're all
is
temp
always
weapons.
on their toes in combat.
Hopefully you can upgrade your
Here you live and
blasters.
die by your reputation.
Finally, you can't
Because they look
have an
horrible.
open-world Star Wars game without ways to get around that expanse, and in Outlaws, Kay has a speeder bike that, as you'd guess, can also be upgraded.
Of course.
You can win credits doing races, or just stop off along the way to your destination at some interesting-looking pit stop. The bike
Wow, look at
controls
the,
well.
look at the glitching.
Destination
Look at the glitching on this guy. Watch it.
some interesting-looking pit stop. The bike
What the-
controls well. It almost feels like driving a boat in Wave Race 64 in that it's pretty fast and arcadey and maneuverable.
It feels like
but
Wave
hardly
Race
handles
64.
like
Wave Race 64 was amazing. I've watched this gameplay. It looks nothing like it. No way.
it's on rails.
No way. That's just that guy. This guy's pissing me
Complementing
off.
this is Kay's ship, the Trailblazer, and yes, it's upgradable.
Of
I got
course.
to do a bit of
Barely.
outer
Yeah, there it is. See, we talked about how minimal this was. I
ship,
said it
the
was probably minimal.
Trailblazer, and yeah,
Look at, that's it. That's your upgrades. Those are the slots you can upgrade. That's it. It is minimal. That's what I thought. So, man.
yes, it's upgradable. I got to do a bit of outer space ship-to-ship combat, and I had a good time. I'll need plenty more time in the pilot seat to really solidify my opinion here, but flying the Trailblazer made a
That doesn't
good
seem to
first
work right. The
impression.
leader doesn't seem to work right at all.
If there's one thing that concerned me a bit during my hands-on time, it's bugs. Outlaws went gold well before the preview event.
Gold,
that if
thank
I
you.
wasn't playing the certification
Someone was trying to tell me in another video that, well, more than one, that this isn't the release version. Give it time. This is the gold version. This is released. This is what you're going to see. There may be a day one patch, but know that if you buy it on a disc, this is the version you're getting right here.
build
That's
is
important.
something mighty close. And while yes, there will inevitably be a day one patch as
Certainly.
most games have nowadays, it was still disappointing to see as many annoying little, admittedly mostly visual and harmless, glitches as I did.
That you've
Hopefully
noticed.
That
You're
day
not a
one
tester,
update
bro.
will knock out the bulk.
Trust me, if someone can break this game, it's me. I'm going to break this game if I get my hands on it. Constantly. I break every game.
of them.
You know the rules. No credits, no sabak. And you already owe the Pikes a fortune.
Ultimately, though, I had a fantastic time with Star Wars
This guy
Outlaws.
doesn't like
Open world
fast-paced games
tend
at
to
all.
be jacks of all trades, masters of none, and while I'm not sure Outlaws will master any of its gameplay components,
It doesn't seem it.
nonetheless not only does them all very well,
It's
it
a,
does
again, if it's not mastering things or bringing anything really exciting and new, remember how Ubisoft pushes these $70 games now. $70 just to get in the door. They call them quadruple A. You have to pay $110 for this game if you want like the early access or whatever. A $70 game. They call it quadruple A. They do. I should be blown away.
so
blown
with a
away.
convincing Star Wars sheen. And since there's somehow never been an open world Star Wars game before, it feels new, fresh, and most welcome. I'm glad this is arguably the first big name game out this fall on
I don't know if I agree that this is an open world Star Wars game. It doesn't seem it. We already know that the way they go in and out of space is canned. We already know you're limited on the ground to where you can go. You're limited in space, which is understandable. But what is open world about this that Star Wars Galaxies wasn't? What's more open world about this that Jedi Survivor wasn't? I don't see this as more open world. How is it more open world? I don't understand that. They
August
keep
30th
saying it.
because I can't wait to play more of it.
How do you know my name?
I keep an eye out for new talent.
For more on Star Wars
And I will
Outlaws,
say
don't
this,
miss
Jedi Survivors takeoff and landing an atmosphere on planets was way better than
our
that.
exclusive 10 minutes of
Way better.
gameplay, as well as our
They didn't show that in
behind-the-scenes
this.
look at how Nyx was created. And for everything else in the worlds of Star Wars and video games, and Star Wars video games, stick with IGN.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Gambling addict who begged me for money.
Wow. I don't
Spice and leave
see
with
anything.
promise
This
that he'd share
trailer
his
didn't
winnings
show me
should
anything
he find
new.
himself back on Lady Luck's
Not much
side.
anyway.
Naturally,
Nothing
there's
that
also
makes me
Cantina,
want to play this
and
game.
I
Let me know
saw
if you
the
feel any
supply
different.
team, but
Did this do it for you? Did this put you over the top of buying it? Or just be like, where's the game? And absolutely not. And is it worth $70? The only way that I could see it being worth it, and don't do this, okay, is getting that Ubisoft Premium that they talk about. I don't remember if that's the name, but where you have to pay monthly, but you can at least play this. So if you get that for 1 month, it's like $7 or $8 or something, and then you never have to just cancel it, and you can play this and whatever else they have. I guess. But don't do that if you're not good to remember to cancel. This game absolutely looks like a do not play. Oh, man. Star Wars. A Star Wars game I'm not going to play. I might play it just for the memes, just to see how bad it is, to put up some gameplay. I think it's going to be terrible. This is so disappointing. And let's not forget, I haven't really hit on this, but the lead that they chose is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. They didn't even make her attractive in any way. She's boring. Her attitude is weird. She's just uninteresting, basic, boring smuggler. And you can have someone very exciting. But they didn't do that. They didn't even get Han Solo, not even close. Man. Well, anyway, this is a no for me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to follow the channel, please, and like the video. Love you, mean a peace. Bye, everybody.
They have very heavy silhouettes. You can see they're very heavy helmets. If you encounter them, you will be intimidated. You know, we wanted them to look
He looks like he's going to go weld something. That's a welding mask.
intimidating. And they have big helmets not to get a bigger
Everything,
silhouette, but
all the
also
other
create